Hi, Elle Ingalls here at pressure-free.com, elleingles.com. I'm sitting on my floor because I had to plug in my phone. I just got off a long call with a really wonderful person wanting to know more about pressure-free. And tonight I'm continuing some myths about stress. So this is day 2 of this little mini series I'm doing to debunk some myths about stress. And the myth I want to talk about tonight is the myth that there are certain activities that will lower my stress and I'm going to be okay. So some of these things include exercising, meditating, yoga. Let's just take those 3. So exercising, meditating, yoga. So I'll run into people and they'll say, oh, Al, I take care of my stress. I run every night. Or I take care of my stress because I meditate morning and night, or I pray morning and night. I take care of my stress because I do yoga every day. These are all really great things to do. And you may feel less stress. You'll feel less stress after you do them. But here's the deal about stress. If you trigger the stress response for any reason in your day, you've released stress hormones. Once you release stress hormones, your body is going to go through a cycle. That cycle lasts up to 24 hours if you're a female, up to 9 hours if you're a male. This is a long time to be under the influence of stress hormones. You may not be cognizant that you're under the influence of these stress hormones, but your cells sure know that they are. So here are some symptoms that you may feel. You may when you trigger the stress response, you may feel your face turn red. You may feel dry eye or a dry mouth, like you're about to give a speech and your mouth is all dry. You may feel a little shaky. When your face turns red, like your neck may turn red, your hands might get cold. Your hands might get sweaty. You might be sweating under your arms. Like there's all these things that are going to start to happen. And you might think, oh, I'm just going to exercise. I'm going to be okay. Again, exercising is great. It's a great thing to do, but you're still going to be under the influence of these stress hormones for hours. Hi, Krenna. Thanks for joining. If you're under the influence of these stress hormones for hours, then you're not your optimal self. Sometimes when I'm working with clients, they'll say to me, Elle, you help me find the real me, not the stressed out me, but the real me, which is underneath all of these layers of stress and stress fat, for that matter, which is why you might be exercising to try and get rid of the stress fat, but the stress fat just keeps building because it doesn't have anything to do with food, it doesn't have anything to do with exercise. It has to do with the fact that when you release these chemicals in your body wants to build fat to protect you. So fight or flight is a great thing if you're really under attack. It's going to put you in a state where you find everything to be a threat, so you will protect yourself. It's going to build fat on your midsection and in this little hump back, between your shoulder blades. You know that little place back there? Some people call it the dowager's hump. It's like people get coiled over time and that fatty hump is back there. So that fatty hump, this is my hypothesis, by the way. I still haven't seen any research on it. This is my hypothesis. The fatty hump here builds because your brain needs a ton of fat, and it's right at the base of the brainstem, so you can access fat if you can't get to food. Because in fight or flight, if we were back thousands of years, we might have to wait it out in a cave for a few days and not have any food. So the fat stores to keep us alive. 21st century, we're already eating too much stuff, which is why it ends up bands of fat on our torso, fat deposits in our arteries, heart disease. That's why stress is called the silent killer. So yoga, meditation, exercise, those are all great things. Don't stop doing them. But if you really want to stop stress from harming you, from harming your brain, from creating any chronic disease, both mental and physical, we've got to stop the release of these stress hormones. That is the key. And that's the secret that Pressure Free unlocks for you. And the method is simple. I was working today with a team from Kellogg. I've been working with them since, what are we on? 6th or 7th session? They're doing 12 sessions with me, which is super cool. So if you have a company or a team of any size. I work with teams of any size. You could have a team of 5. Maybe you're a solopreneur and you've got this little group of independent contractors. My own sons have hired me 2 years in a row to work with theirs. So working and sharing this simple method, especially if we work in a team, it kind of creates a ripple effect. And you can help each other, especially if you're a team that's worked together for a while because you understand each other, or you're a family, or you're a couple, and you want each other to do well. Like the people that you work with and you live with, when you care about them, once you understand what stress hormones are all about and the pressure-free method, you don't ever want to see the people you love trigger the stress response. You'll help each other. I worked with a bank once, and the whole teller line, I walked in and they all started doing one of my tools, which is this silly Ferris wheel thing. It was just hilarious because they had camaraderie, and sometimes you have a client that's kind of tough. I've been a teller. I've been on the other side of that, and I understand it. So again, keep exercising, keep doing yoga, keep doing meditation. It's going to help you feel better in the moment. But if you really want to break the stress cycle, we've got to stop releasing those stress hormones that cause the whole stress cycle, which again lasts up to 9 hours in a male, up to 24 hours in a female. Pretty much everyone you're walking around and seeing in your day is under the influence of stress hormones. If you had to take a little test and wouldn't be allowed to drive if you didn't pass the stress hormone test, there'd be nobody on the streets right now. Because people trigger the stress response for the smallest reasons. And anyone who drives more than 15 minutes anywhere usually has triggered the stress hormones at least once. Car going too slow, car going too fast, stopped at a stoplight too long. All of those little things will cause people to trigger the stress response. So you have to be kind of vigilant. I like to tell my clients to be really gentle and generous with themselves. We're learning. It's going to take a little while to figure out all the little things you trigger over. I don't even know how long my list is. I'm 11 years into using the pressure-free method, and I'm still finding triggers. In fact, I could be a little annoyed right now because I was just in a training last week and I used some life preservers and they're sitting here on the floor still. And so it's a little triggering to me that I have visual clutter as I'm sitting on the floor of this study right now. So that could be a trigger and cause me to trigger fight or flight. Now that's pretty silly. You might think, well, that sounds, that's pretty crazy. This is what we trigger over. Little tiny crazy things that cause us to release these stress hormones, little annoyances, feelings of shame. These are the things that do it. So when you break that and figure it out, it's kind of like putting on a sleuth hat. Like I'm Nancy Drew or the Hardy Boys, if you ever read those books. I love those books. And we've got to look for clues. What are the things that are causing you to trigger fight or flight? Is it a person? Is it a person's tone of voice? Is it your commute? Is it feeling like you're going to be late? When we figure out those triggers, then we can start to do something about it. So tomorrow's episode, I'll give you another myth. We're going to crack into another myth. Oh, and Krana says she loves those books. I do too. We'll crack into another myth and we'll go a little deeper about fight or flight and the pressure-free method. So I hope this is helpful. If it's helpful, feel free to share it out. Give me some love. It's lonely over here on the other side of the screen. So thank you for those who have been with me. I see you all. I'm really grateful. And if you know someone struggling, please connect them to my calendar, speakwithelle.com. It's quick and easy to come in and book a free call with me. It's a pressure-free call. No one will ever feel pressured to work with me. I don't want to work with someone who doesn't want to work with me. But if we can be a change agent for someone that's experiencing stress or anxiety, and if you belong to a team, you work for an organization, you work for a company, for a school district, for a hospital, for any of that, I absolutely love coaching teams virtually and in person. And I'm coaching some teams virtually right now. And gosh, on the 30th, I'm coaching a team live, so that'll be fun. But I'm totally here to help you break the stress cycle. It is my mission, and it's pretty amazing when you do it. So have a great pressure-free night.